Hello guys, today I'm going to try and sort out the R620, well sort out the cab at least. We have an awful mess of wires here, so I'm going to try and figure out what each of them does and if we can get them wired up to work with the 3.7 volt battery. So the first problem I have here is remembering how it comes apart, or even if it does come apart, because there's possibility that I glued some of these things in so they might not actually come apart too handy. Well, we'll have a look. I think this bit comes out and the front will slide off. I'm not 100% certain though. I could be wrong. There we go, that's part of it coming. I think I'll just cut these things because I think I'll just cut a lot of these wires because I'm going to be replacing most of it anyway. There's way too many wires in this. This mess that I have of transistors and things that I had to, well, that I was using to deal with the 7.4 volt battery. Although in retrospect I probably wouldn't do it this way anymore. At the time I thought this was the best way to do it, but I'm pretty sure I can do it a bit tidier than this now. So I'll just cut these wires because I basically just want to get to the LEDs. I don't want the transistors anymore. So that's the first part off. So now we can start to see what we're dealing with. So on the bottom here we obviously have these four large LEDs. I'm not sure, I think two of them might be in series, so I don't think they'll work with the 3.7 volts, but I could be wrong there. I'll have to check that out. I have two indicators. I need a resistor for them. I'd say the resistor that they have at the minute is going to be too small. We have these little fog lights at the bottom here. Again, I'd say the resistor will be too large. I think I said the resistor was too small up here, but the resistor would be too large for the 3.7 volts. Fog lights probably have the same problem. Then we have two LEDs for the headlights, and they'll obviously have the same problem again with the resistors being too high. I have a lot of transistors that I was using for the 7.4 volts. I don't think we'll need the transistors now that we're using 3.7 volts. We should be able to light pretty much everything from the Arduino, possibly, if we scale the resistors correctly. So I'll just get rid of most of this stuff if I can. Okay, I've done a little bit of testing and I kind of have an idea what I'm going to do now. So let's start with the indicators. I have these, here's an indicator here. We have the two 120 ohm resistors in parallel there to give us 60 ohms. I think that's what they are anyway. So what I do is snip one of these. That'll bring the resistance up to 120 ohms and the current required for the LED down to 15 milliamps. And that then, when you include it with the rear indicator, will require then only 30 milliamps for the both indicators, both say right indicators. Then we don't need a transistor for those indicators, so that fixes or makes that a little bit simpler. The headlights are already down at only 30 milliamps, so don't need a transistor for the headlights. The big spotlights, they have been wired so that two are in series, and then the two strings of two in series, I suppose, are connected in parallel. So we need to rewire each of those LEDs so that they're all in parallel, so we can drive them from our 3.7 volts. I'll also replace the transistor for that because there's going to be a lot of current required to drive that. Then we have the kind of fog lights down at the bottom here. So these lights, what I'm going to do, I'm going to wire the fog lights, the little V of blue LEDs, and the lights above the window here. They're all going to be wired together and they'll have a single transistor, and that'll go to a single Arduino pin. So when I turn that on, I'll turn these kind of fog lights, the blue lights and the lights above the cab all on at once on their own pin. I didn't wire them to the headlights because I'll be able to pulse width modulate the headlights like I normally do, so that I can get dipped headlights and full beam headlights. I just spent about a half an hour trying to get these two pieces out of the cab here so that I could work on the top, because I need to rewire the lights that were up here. And the reason for that is I put a little spot of glue there to try and hold something together, and the glue kind of seeped up between these two layers and it glued them together, and I couldn't get this piece out of here, and I needed to do that to get to the two screws that were up here. Also, you can see where I glued the LEDs on here, and all around it clouded up, and same over here, little bits of glue. It wasn't actually there, but it clouded a huge big section around the piece that I was gluing. So you'll have to be careful when you're gluing stuff that you don't end up with clouded glass like that. So try to keep your gluing of things to a minimum. If you can somehow screw them in, like probably if I was doing it again, I would have soldered a piece of wire on here and a piece of wire on here, and just screwed them into these two mounting holes instead of putting any glue on the windshield at all. And I wouldn't have put any glue down here either. So that's just a little kind of tip, I guess. I have a row of four 5mm straw top hat, or straw hat LEDs I think they're called, on the grill here. So what I thought I'd do while I have the model part is add 6 more straw hat LEDs onto the cab here. So in total I'll have 10 of these super bright straw hat LEDs on the front of the model. It should be pretty bright. So all I did was drill a few holes through there, and I'm going to connect all of these in parallel and connect them in parallel to the ones in the bottom of the cab too, and then they'll all just have the one resistor. That's the plan. Okay, I think I've tidied up the wires in the top of the cab pretty well. I've added those extra lights, so I'll just wire it up now and I'll show you what the different lights are going to look like, if I can. So I'm not sure which wire is which, so I'll just hit them and we see. So there's large indicator, so there's one of the beacons. There's the other beacon, and this one. That's the row of lights on top of the cab. Hopefully they'll be bright enough. And the last one is the lights above the window. So I think that looks alright. I've also just wired this little screen that's in the back of the cab to just come on whenever the tractor or whenever the lorry is powered up. So that'll just come on and cycle through those images, and that's just the way I'm going to leave that. So I had these 6 blue LEDs in here and I had super glued them in, but like I said, the super glue can leave a bit of a mess. So what I'm going to try instead is to use some hot glue to try and hold them in. So turns out the camera's in the way, so I'll have to do that off camera, but that's the plan. I'm going to hot glue that in, and also these wires that are going to come down and connect to the various LEDs down here to join them to the transistor, which I've already installed in the cab. Don't think I mentioned that. There's a transistor in the cab for the bigger 5mm LEDs, and also for all these extra kind of feature LEDs, I guess they're called. I don't know, like the fog lights and the blue lights on the front. Okay, I have the bottom wires wired up now, so I'll just run through the wires. Here we have a beacon. Here's the spotlights. See, all of them connected together, all going to the one transistor. And this is probably the other beacon. And then this should be the rest of the lights. So, see, we have our little blue LEDs in the grille. The fog lights are on here, and the lights on the top of well, above the glass here. They're all connected together. Well, that's all I have time for today. So if you liked that video, make sure and hit the like button and share the video. All that stuff helps a lot. And if you have any comments or any suggestions, post them below or head over to the forum. In the next video, I'll probably sort out the rest of the lights and make them work with the lights that are in the body, or well, in the rest of the body, the tail lights. And then probably we might even get it all wired up to the Arduino in the next episode. So the conversion could actually be that simple in the end. So that's everything for today. Thanks for watching.